since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio with your hosts, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Pena, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
All right, welcome to Gamertag Radio episode 1201. This is your host, Danny Pena, and this episode, we have a guest here, and this is my fiance, Riana Manuel. What's up, Riana? What's up, Ree?
What's up with you? How are you doing today?
Everything's good. We're going to be talking about the Halo TV series. We got to watch it last week, and we've been so busy that we finally going to sit down and talk about it, the series. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yes. And it's going to be great. And then later on tonight, we're going to the premiere.
Yeah, we get to get all dolled up and look at people in real life. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we're going to be posting pictures online, of course.
Of course.
Okay. All right. just making sure. But first, head over to gamertagradio.com. Listen to our past episodes. You could also find us on any podcast app. Just search for Gamertag Radio. We're there. And also, we'd like to be part of our family discussion. Maybe you agree or disagree with our review of the Halo TV series?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Here's how you could contact us.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, Ree, we should start this conversation. Before we start, are you a fan of the Halo story? And you're a huge fan.
Oh, absolutely. I've played every Halo. My favorite one is Reach. And
Reach is a good one.
Yeah, underappreciated in my opinion. And yeah, huge fan of the lore of everything with, Spartans and UNSC and everything going on with the rings and, later games. But this is a new Halo universe.
Yes. Now, before we go to the series, I know long time ago we heard that they were going to Xbox was going to work on a movie with Steven Spielberg, and that never went through. I remember, and this is a very funny story, I was outside waiting for my appointment. I was going to check out the Halo Master Chief Collection at E3. Mm-hmm. So I was there with Paris, and out of nowhere, during that time, Steven Spielberg comes out because he was also checking out the game, and he was right in front of us talking with Aisha Tyler.
Oh, wow.
Talking about it needs work. They're still working on it, trying to figure it out. That was years ago. And now we're finally getting a new project that he has nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. And we got to see it. Thanks to Paramount Plus and also Xbox for giving us access. So your thoughts, let's go from there. And we have this great conversation. No spoilers again. So go ahead.
No spoilers. And we can go high level and then go into a little bit more details. Overall, I would say the show is interesting. I'm curious to see more. It's definitely different from the Halo story that we all know and love, or know and don't love. And I think it's a great action TV show. For now, the interesting story, interesting characters, and it definitely piqued my curiosity. But if you're going and expecting this to be the Spartan 117 that you know and love, please adjust your expectations because this is a new take on that character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there were parts in this. First of all, we only got to see 2 episodes.
The first 2, right?
That was the only one that we were allowed to watch. There was decisions in the first and second episode that I felt was a little bit too fast. I don't know. It was because of the new audience that they're trying to reach.
Reach?
That part, again, I'm trying not to spoil anything, but I was very surprised how fast the writers got to reveal a lot of things in the first 2 episodes. Were you surprised too about that?
Yeah. If we're gonna go ahead and go straight into specifics, there's a lot that I was surprised by. Like I said, some reimaginings of characters, and one of the things that I am the biggest fan of in the Halo series is all of the sort of like space politics and the different relationships and aspects of organizations like the UNSC or the Covenant, or like all of these different groups, and they all have very well established systems and hierarchies in place, and seeing how they all play out. Right, this is like a war story at its core, and it's very illuminating to see another side of that. And again, it's in a slightly different universe than the one that we know from the games. That being said, what a Spartan is, or what John is, seems to be adjusted in this story, and that is, again, I want to make sure everybody's managing their expectations. That is okay. It's okay to tell another version of a story. We've seen how many Batmans at this point. But what I really do appreciate is how much it still felt like Halo. Like the sound effects, like when your shield goes down, it was like, oh my God, it's like I just had my shield cracked. And, even something as small as the way one character will take a weapon off of the back of another character. It feels like when you're playing co-op. Like there's some really great callbacks to things that happen in the game. And you can tell a lot of the people who created this show really love Halo, and you can feel that. But it broadens the story to a place where it maybe feels a little bit more modern, because let's keep in mind the original Halo Combat Evolved came out a long time ago, and back then you didn't really have heroes in games that you could truly identify with. They were sort of a stand-in for whatever your imagination wanted to build. And you hardly ever heard the characters' voices. You never really saw like their personal lives or relationships. So this is definitely expanding on what original Halo maybe could have been if it was written today. And I think that's a very interesting way to do it. I appreciate this new take on it, but I definitely understand that people might react to it and say, this doesn't feel like my John, or this doesn't feel like my Halo. But yeah, I would just say think of it as a retelling of the original material.
Yeah, talking to Kiki, because she was actually at the G4 studio. We interviewed her on X.
Kiki Wolfkill, executive producer for the series.
Kiki Wolfkill, apologize. Executive producer of the series, and is also a legend in the industry. She worked on Halo very long time ago. So shout out to her. But she mentioned to us that this takes place before Reach.
Yes.
So that's good to know. I had no idea. I thought this was going to be like a fresh start of Halo, So another thing that I realized while watching this series, how dark it is.
Ooh, it is super dark and super violent.
But it's not mature.
So I would argue that that's maybe not very accurate. And again, not getting into spoilers, but I mean, stuff blows up in Halo games. Stuff blows up in the show, and it's very graphic. And I would say if this is something that you planned to watch with any young children or people who are maybe a little bit less comfortable with very graphic violence against humans or creatures or what have you, I would say watch with caution, because it is a little gory, I will say. But again, if you're a big fan of, action and set pieces, it really kicks it off right at the beginning of episode 1 and puts you in that mindset. So if you like the first, I would say 10 to 15 minutes, then there's definitely something in the show you'll enjoy. Now,
were you surprised about that? Because, in the beginning of Halo, when the game came out, it was mature. Then I believe it was Halo 5, it turned into like rated teen, right? And now it looks like they're back to like mature with this series. Were you surprised about that? Because they're trying to reach out to a whole new audience too, young and old, of course.
Yeah, that's not a surprise to me at all. I know from my time on the publishing side of video games and working on Halos and publishing, ratings are all over the place. It really just depends on what the ratings boards around the world are picking apart that particular year. So the shift from mature to teen happens pretty frequently with a lot of shooters, especially because, it's graphic violence versus cartoon violence versus is the blood red or is it green when you put it out in Germany? Like lots of different idiosyncrasies there. But the show being so graphic really does make sense because of the popularity of so many hardcore shows in modern TV. Like we have your Game of Thrones, we have your, I can't think of anything else, but other things where people are seen being bloody or beat up or hurt or killed is pretty common right now. When you have some of the biggest shows on TV show a lot of graphic violence, like a Squid Games or a like I said, Game of Thrones, it's not surprising that they're going in that direction because it seems to be what mainstream audiences are craving right now. And they're definitely gearing this to be, for mainstream audiences, not necessarily the hardcore gaming fans.
So like we said earlier, this was only the first 2 episodes. In total, I heard it's going to be 9 episodes. And the good thing, too, if you have Game Pass Ultimate, if you're a subscriber, you could also sign up to Paramount Plus and get the whole thing for free for like the first month, which is good, I think.
Paramount Plus is a great service. It's a nice little bonus for sure.
I mean, we use it all the time. Watch Big Brother and other shows, So I'm happy to see that the Halo is going to be there. Any of the characters that stood out to you from the series there was a couple that felt acting could have been a little bit better, but I think the 2 main characters is Master Chief and his companion. What's her name? I think it starts with a K. I think
it's. Keep going. I'll find it.
Yeah, I think they're the stars, especially her. She's the star of the show, I think, in my opinion, more than Master Chief, in my opinion. So I'm just curious to see if you feel the same.
Yeah, I don't have her name written down. But I think the relationship between the 2 main characters, at least who are the 2 main characters for us right now, is very interesting because they come from very different perspectives. And again, this intergalactic war, and they find, unexpectedly a lot of common ground, and are able to learn a lot from each other, even from the beginning of their interactions. And again, without going into spoilers, there's something that happens to Chief when
Quan,
thank you, Quan Ha. There's something that happens to Chief very early on in the first episode that sends him on this unexpected path, which is what we're following across what I'm assuming is the length of the 9 episodes. And again, it's a big shift from what we know Chief to be. Now, I will say, there are some characters that are known and loved in the Halo universe that maybe are a little different, that are not Chief. And we've still yet to see all of them after the first 2 episodes. So that, again, I'm very curious to see how this develops out, because there's some mystery for you and I, being people who know all of the folks in the Halo roster, haven't shown up yet. And it'll be interesting to see how they introduce them.
Yeah, and they announced season 2 is coming up, which the series hasn't even been out yet.
That's brave.
Like, that was really fast, which is good. But I'm also excited to learn more about the story. Again, we only know the gaming side, but this one is going to be a totally different story. That I'm just curious to see where they're going to take Master Chief, his path, and his journey. So
yeah, it feels very similar to shows like Game of Thrones or like The Expanse. Like, you can definitely see the parallels they're drawing in some of the tone that they're pulling from those properties, because again, they're very popular, and they have formulas that have worked. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with putting this Halo lens on it.
Now, and this is not a spoiler, but the first few minutes you're gonna see a lot of CGI, a lot of graphics in there, right? I feel like it was a little bit rough in the beginning, and then I noticed towards later of episode 1 and episode 2, I noticed the graphics was like a lot better than the first few minutes of the series. Am I correct, or am I the only one that noticed that?
I definitely noticed some strange graphics when it came to like full-bodied CGI'd characters interacting with real-life characters, but things that were all practical or all CGI played well. From my perspective, you definitely notice a lot in the first fight scene. There's some awkwardness there, and hopefully it improves throughout the series, but we'll see.
Yeah, and your thoughts overall? Any characters that stood out to you besides Master Chief and Quan?
Well, try not to spoil too much.
No.
I thought it was really great to see Halsey and to see a lot more depth from her perspective. We get a good bit of it here and there throughout the games, but it's really great to see her interactions with her team and like the being inside in UNSC, and maybe she doesn't always have support for the things that she's doing, and she sometimes has a tendency to go rogue, and it'll be interesting to see a lot more from that actress in her portrayal.
I noticed with this one with Master Chief, he seems more emotional, I think, than the game. again, this is not no spoiler. Again, it's a totally different character than the game, you know? So
Yeah.
do you agree with that? Or
Definitely. This, like I said before, and I keep saying, because I don't want people to go in as surprised and disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
This is a different Chief. And, you know, we learn very quickly why.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he makes decisions and, you know, what's important to him and who he's loyal to. Like, I think all of that is up in the air at this point, which makes it very interesting as somebody who knows a specific version of the character very, very well. This is definitely a new take on it.
And your thoughts about people, again, this is social media, mad about the Paramount and Xbox taking this to a whole different side compared to like the games, story-wise. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts about that, like seeing people, you know, getting all upset about it, you know? Like, personally, I'm a fan of Halo, and I enjoy the show. You're a huge fan of Halo, too, you know? And you read the books?
I read one of the books.
One of the books?
Yeah.
And you still enjoy the show. It wasn't something like messed up your experience or anything like that. I think it was great overall for me.
Not at all. And I'm not necessarily a person who is offended by adaptations that stray from source material. Like, we have Resident Evil. Most recently, we have Nathan Drake's movie. And
Arcane?
Arcane was phenomenal. And you know, all of these things will take some creative liberties, and that's okay. You know, I'm more interested in the storytelling and how it's presented than it being 100% faithful to one version of this world and these characters. You know, we've seen it. We've already played through it. We played a lot of time with that version of Halo and with John. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with this one. It doesn't necessarily deter me, but I do understand for people who were ready to see their Spartan 117 on screen that there could be some disappointment, and you know that shouldn't be discounted, but that isn't what was promised. So I think it's important to make sure you adjust your expectations. This is a new story.
One question I asked Kiki Wolfkill, and also Golden Boy asked her this: are we going to see Needlers in the show? She said, "Oh yeah,
we better.
We're gonna see that." I was like, "All right, good. That's all we need to know."
And I will say, for the weapons that you do see in the first fight, I was screaming, and I was sitting next to you on the couch, like furiously taking notes, like, "Oh my god, this rifle!" and "Oh my god, this sword!" and blah blah blah. Like, you really do get that payoff right up front. So I know that there's going to be more beats of that because obviously they aren't fighting the entire first 2 episodes. But I have faith, and you see some major characters in the Halo universe that are, you know they throw down, you know they're gonna come out and swing in and send in their best generals and stuff. So I'm looking forward to some more conflict for sure.
One thing I had to get used to was Master Chief's voice. I had to get used to
different actor.
So totally different actor. Was it difficult for you too at first when you heard Master Chief talk for the first time in the series?
Not really, and you can clearly tell that who's this Pablo Schreiber is he's definitely putting an affect on his voice to sound more like the original Spartans 117.
Yeah.
I got used to it pretty quickly. Again, it's easy for me to suspend disbelief and like accept that this is something new. So it didn't throw me off for too long.
Anything else besides what we talked about? The story, weapons, sound effects, pretty good. You're gonna hear Master Chief every time he walks. You can hear that boom, 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 the big steps all the time.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole show.
I will say I love the way they make Spartans into this like almost a boogeyman in this universe where, you know, people are scared of them. They tell legends and stories about them. They look larger than life, like both in and out of armor. And, you know, you can tell that they're really truly a force to be reckoned with in this universe. And like when the Spartans come in, everybody's shook. And I really like that because it definitely makes you call back to the way that you felt when you jumped in. I would say my favorite reach is like you land down and you're like, and everybody's like, oh snap, the Spartans are here.
Yeah, you know, one thing that I wish shows and movies that get like content and story from video games, the one thing that I do not like is when they try to make it as like a first person shooter view.
Oh, like with the HUD and everything, yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather just don't show that. Like, you don't really don't need to show that. You could add the sound effects, which is fine. Like, there's one part where, you know, Master Chief is like, he's like, I think behind a tank or something. I can't remember exactly. You know, trying to get cover, and his shield goes down, and it goes back up. Yeah, that part great. But I don't like when especially, it reminds me of Doom, the original movie with The Rock, they're showing like the gun first person.
Yeah,
like,
too literal.
I don't like that view.
This is much more like it looks a lot like Mandalorian in the beginning.
Oh yeah, for
sure.
sure.
They're on, and yeah, it definitely feels like you're witnessing characters go through their life, and less like you're being put in the front seat, the front row seat. Driver's seat. That's what I'm thinking of. Less like you're being put in the driver's seat. And I think that's appropriate because there's so many different perspectives to share, and you aren't experiencing the story as John. You're experiencing it like as the people around him and watching him. And I think it makes more sense to take it out of that, first person perspective to achieve that goal.
Now, my last question, and this is something that I've been noticing. So some companies, when they send screeners to people to review like their shows or especially TV series, sometimes they'll give us only 1 episode, 2 episodes. I heard the one that's coming out next week on Disney Plus, Moon Knight.
Yeah,
I heard
Moon Knight. Excited for that.
Disney sent 4 episodes to everybody, which very surprising.
It's very confident.
Yes, and there's only 6 episodes, and they send out 4, which is crazy to me. Were you surprised it was only 2 episodes we got to watch?
Not really.
From Paramount Plus. You think this was good enough for you to continue to watch the series?
I think it was good enough. The pacing in the first episode is definitely like, bam, here you are. It's Halo, blah. And then, you get a little story. Here's some characters. There's like a, oh my gosh moment at the very end of it. And then episode 2 is, again, more of those politics, the war games, the intrigue. I think it was a good mix of like what the 2 major vibes or the 2 major set piece tones of the show will be, which is action and politics.
Yeah.
And then also throughout both, lots of mystery threaded through. So I think it did a good job of setting everything up. These 2 episodes again made me want to see more. And I think if they would have stopped it at 1, everybody would have said absolutely not, I'm done. Just to be clear, I think the first episode is weaker without the second one, so it makes sense to include at least both. And I honestly, I suspect that there's a lot more mystery and a lot more serious spoilers for this world story coming soon, which is, I hope, why they haven't released more. Because, there's definitely this sort of like red herring or a MacGuffin, depending on how they're going with it, that if you got too much information, it might dilute the experience of watching them week to week.
Yeah. I'm curious to see where the series is gonna go. So I'm very, very curious, especially season 2. Once all this is done. So
yeah.
Now, Reese, I just want to say thank you for this quick review of Halo TV series. It's gonna be on Paramount Plus. Actually, tomorrow it goes live.
Tomorrow. Yeah,
and later on tonight we're gonna go to the red carpet premiere. We're gonna see a lot of people there from 343. A couple people from Xbox, of course. A lot of the actors, the whole cast is gonna be there. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I can't wait. Yeah,
and I would say if you have Xbox Game Pass, which you probably should, because it's the best deal in gaming, pick up Paramount Plus. Try it. There's a lot of great content there, and give the show a watch. If you like Halo, if you like Space Marines, if you like war game stories, big action set pieces, a little bit of intrigue and mystery, you'll probably find something in the show that you enjoy. And again, if you can make sure you set your expectations correctly, this is not copy paste of Halo. This is the people that you've seen in the Halo games and the enemy types and the weapons and everything, but it's a new story.
Yep. All right, Ree, you want to mention your Twitter social? People can follow you.
Yeah, I'll be posting our beautiful red carpet pictures later on my Twitter. That's at Riana Tweets Now, RIANA Tweets Now. And anything I'm doing with G4 or What's Good or GDC or DICE or wherever I'm at, you'll see it there as well.
All right, cool. All right, thanks, Ree. Everyone, thank you for listening. Until next time, we'll be back here on Monday with a brand new episode of Gamer Tag Radio. Until next time, we're out. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to Gamer Tag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.